All right, welcome listeners to another episode of the Banquet Hall podcast. I am blessed to be joined with the man, the myth, the legend himself, GJ the God. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm all right, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to our conversation. I was really excited when you approached me about the podcast and being willing to being on the podcast, just because I know, especially the folks that attend Black Expression, they hear you say a few poems, they see you with the camera, and I definitely want to make sure that you have an opportunity to get your story out here on the podcast as well. So I want to go ahead and jump right in with our random icebreaker question to start the podcast off. But first, want to make sure for any new listeners to the pod, make sure y'all follow the pod at Banquet Hall Pod, like, subscribe, and check out some other episodes after we're done with GJ. But GJ, this is going to be the last episode of 2023 of the Banquet Hall Podcast. So my icebreaker question for you is, if you could relive one day this year, what day would you choose to relive and why? Take your time.
Damn. I guess you could look at that a positive way or a negative way.
Hey, give me both if you want.
So I mean, shit. I don't know if I wanted to if there's any days I would like want to relive, because I think every day has its purpose. Because I've like learned not to live with regret. So like reliving the day would mean there would be something regrettable or something that I didn't fully enjoy in the moment.
Well, I guess the way I looked at it, though, is if you could, like, let's say replay the day, whether you get to be like an observer of the day, like it was a really good day and you just want to see that day again, not necessarily doing something different, but just like a day that would be dope to see again.
Day that's dope to see again. Well, if that's the case, then if it was dope and I could see it again, it would probably be the birth of Zula, because that was amazing. Monet did amazing. That shit was amazing. And I have two other children, so I can say that from someone who's seen two other children be born, and then I've seen other children be born. But even the people that were like helping her, you know what I'm saying, they was like, yo, she's like, she didn't get no epidural, she didn't do none of that shit. She was like, yeah, straight up. So she went through it and she was laughing, very like involved. So yeah, reliving that, sitting back and just observing that. Because for me, it's like people, you know, they always try to think some dudes do get emotional when babies are born. And I ain't queasy like that, because, you know, everybody has their own experiences. And I'm just like, blood doesn't throw me off. I'm kind of like, you know, this is how we got to handle shit. You know, I grew up, my dad made me hold roaches. Some people's like, that's wild. Me and my brother had to hold roaches as kids. So for me, it's like, you got to kind of deal with shit, even if you don't like it. And it's like, the baby wasn't like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. No, that's life. So that was, if I could relive that, that would be a moment, because just how she handled that, the whole process, like somebody who hasn't ever done something like that before. We went through our whole process of like trying to prepare for it, but being in the moment of something happening, like, you know, motherfucker, he's like, you know, everybody got a plan until they get hit in the face, and you know what I'm saying? And that's a thing. So for her to handle it, and, you know, it not to be any real complications outside of like the environment and the people, you know what I'm saying, making things more difficult than they should have been, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, capitalism, colonialism, yada, yada, yada. And just the experience and just seeing her like become a mother, seeing her, you know, get there, push through the process. That's like something I would like I gained a whole nother level of like love and respect for that day. Just, you know, like I think anybody who has children with someone who has a, you know, who has children with a woman, or how people want to perceive it, that shit'll change. I mean, at least for me, that makes me see a difference. Because like that takes a lot to do. It's a whole different experience. It's a whole different, like, you're not going to be the same no more. You just had a life come through you. So yeah, for me that was deep. That was, and just how she handled it, I guess, for me. So because that was like really, like, I was like, yo, and then she was cool, and then, you know, we get out of there after we dealing with all the bullshit, and she's not even like, you know, you need 6 weeks to do something, bruh. She was up.
Superstar.
He was up. Like, I'm like, yo, chill out. And then I was like, I can't like tell you what to do either because I'm not trying to limit your capacity, but also I'm not gonna let you do no wild shit. So overall, she's obviously good. You know what I'm saying? But that was something that if I could relive that and just observe it, yeah.
It's an excellent answer, and a lot of folks listening to this might have already tapped in with Monet's episode of the podcast. Definitely tap in to hear more of her story. She talked about being a mom on that pod as well. But definitely a great answer. Before I give my answer to this question, though, I have to ask this question for the purposes of our listeners. Roaches? Your father was making y'all whole roaches? What was that about?
Bro, I mean, to be honest, I think we all got these experiences. So, um, damn, that was wild. Um, but in regards to like holding roaches, it was like because we we lived in Louisiana. I'm not from Louisiana, but we lived there at a particular stage in our life, and I learned the difference between water bugs and roaches, and sometimes infestations has nothing to do with being dirty. Sometimes somebody's dirty next to you. Sometimes your foundation is bad. A lot of places where I lived, they had their houses on bricks and shit because they was trying to like not have. So roaches, because we're boys, and you see roach. Oh shit! Oh, stop being a bitch. This is how I was raised. Stop being a bitch. Stop acting like a bitch. So he was like, grab the roach, pick the roach up, hold it, squeeze it, feel the juices. Oh my god, I'm gonna show this shit to my brother because and this shit is funny as hell because we both was there and his reaction was not the same as mine. That doesn't change anything outside of the fact that's something that we had to do because it was like, as I look at it now, I always try to like. Some people say it's this dismissive, but I'm not. I don't like to look at it like that as much as it's like a rite to passage and also like a reverse psychology. Depending on how you got to use it, you got to use so you can move forward. But overall, this motherfucker has having roaches because he wants us to stop being scared of killing them. So Monet can have seen me kill bugs with my bare hands to this day. Like I'm not playing none of that. I will literally fucking smack a fly like this or do this. You know what I'm saying? So
So,
because they got it
GJ
like
the Exterminator. Gotta start your own exterminator business, GJ the Exterminator. But if I can answer the icebreaker question real quick, I feel bad that I don't have it. Well, I do. I had a deeper answer, like you had a birth of your daughter. I was gonna pick the Laker game I went to for my birthday.
I mean, I've been to a Lakers game here. It was a preseason game and Kobe was not playing, and that was upsetting. So going to a Lakers game is dope. I'm not going to like. I would love to go to a Lakers game, but even you remember we had the conversation about like what was your bucket list, and I was like a Game 7 Finals, Lakers closeout game. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's like why the fuck not? That's like,
Man, well, for my birthday, my best friend and I, we went to Game 3, Lakers Grizzlies, when the Lakers demolished the Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks got kicked out, and we were sitting like 4 rows up from the court. So when Dylan Brooks got kicked out, he was no further than my computer screen is to me right now. Like I was like, man, I could really say some like really mean spirited stuff to him right now, but I'm not trying to get kicked out of this game. So that was definitely that's the one I ended up choosing. Runner up, and some people are going to look at me sideways for this. Runner up is graduating with my MBA, but number one is definitely that Laker game. Like mainly because the graduation is just a ceremony. I completed the degree last year. The Laker game, I'm gonna remember that Laker game more than I'm gonna remember my graduation. I'm not even gonna lie.
I mean, shit, you had to put in a lot of fucking time for that fucking piece of paper. So you know what I'm saying? And that's not to disregard your piece of paper, but
Oh, not at all.
Lakers game. I'm telling you right now, if I go to a Lakers game, jump out of plane, go to an Eagles game, yeah, it's gonna be a lot. That's gonna be better than a lot of things.
Yeah, it's the simple things. It's the simple things. But let's go ahead and get into more of the formal questions of the podcast. The first question I usually start off with my guests. GJ, where are you from, and how did that shape who you have become and are in the process of becoming?
So yeah, I was originally I was born in Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles, California. But um we moved to like Shreveport, Louisiana, when I was like 12, probably like 10. It's sometimes kind of hard to know because, I don't know the time or the years we left, but I remember like the ages it felt like. So, but being from LA and my dad, like being a music producer and like just experiencing that environment because I just was raised like I experienced a lot of different things. Some people be like, oh, people may have seen a picture with me like with Snoop Dogg as a kid. We was in like Chino Hills. My dad like did um stuff for Death Row. Like he played keys for Death Row. Some people were like, "Oh, that's crazy." I mean, it's just that was just what I experienced as a child. So imagine like a child
Right.
experiencing something totally different, whether it be riches, poor, or whatever the circumstance. And then people's like, "Oh, that's dope." How many other my dad played with? LL Cool J, Charlie Wilson is like people say Uncle Charlie. He was like my real uncle. And there's a YouTube video. There's a YouTube video you can go find of me as a child talking to this motherfucker when I was in Shreveport, Louisiana. That shit is the most. Every time
Wow.
it's like depressing because like what I was going through as a child, it's hard to like. We always talk about emotional and mental things and like things that people can't even recognize because they got their own shit going on and they may not be able to think shit. They may think shit is all good. So you know what I'm saying? Because people got cues and as a child you're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do because we're trained. But outside of all that, I was born in LA. We moved to Louisiana, and I feel like the experience and like being from LA and moving to Louisiana was a great experience because being from Los Angeles, I was like used to something, even though I had not this whole experience. I just knew that it wasn't like living in Louisiana because Louisiana's not the same. It's a total different environment. And moving to the South and being like perceived a whole different way, like, oh, you think you're better. You never said that shit. Oh, you think you're white. What the fuck are you talking about? So that helps. I had these experiences where it almost made me like an outcast, but not in the sense like I was forced to. Like I like was trying to be something other than I was just perceived a certain type of way. So I never really had to. I always had this in the essence of how I grew up and where it was raised me shaped me is more so it kind of made me always like realize I had to be observant of my surroundings and always kind of be aware of the people I interact with because you know I can't control how what people may perceive me to be. I may not even be doing nothing, but people are gonna be like, "Where are you from? What are you doing?" And I understand that from being from LA. That's not like something different outside of the fact that you talk different. You
Hmm.
think you're this way because you're talking white, and I'm not talking white, bro. I'm just talking proper. But I didn't have that. I didn't know how to articulate that as a child, and that shit wouldn't have mattered. Them niggas would have still tried to fight me. You know what I'm saying? So um, overall, just those experiences allow me to like understand, just to be observant of my surroundings, and you know what I'm saying. You can't trust everybody. You can't be gullible. So it's like it made me very um, what's the word? Aware, obviously, but the word I've been trying to like I've been saying that shit for the last 3 or 4 days. But we'll get so give me like 2 seconds while we here. That's not gonna take that long. Discernment.
Mm.
I developed discernment through all these experiences, being able to feel energy. Because I think like abuse and having to like be able to read energy and be able to read situations that's probably like what taught me anything. Because Louisiana had these experiences that if I was in LA, I probably would have died. I
Mm.
probably would have like not made it just because people shoot people in LA just like they shoot people in San Diego or shoot people in Shreveport or Little Rock, and everybody gets shot. But LA he's got more niggas with more guns than niggas in Shreveport, Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? The niggas probably got better aim, probably got better bullets. Cause I've been shot, but them niggas they would have doubled back. Them niggas would
Mm.
have came back and finished the job. You know what I'm saying? So outside of that, just having a different environment and then being able to like experience things and not have to live in a big city because you can live in LA and you can escape something and still get caught up in some bullshit and that be it too. So you know what I'm saying? Overall, it allowed me to develop a level of discernment and awareness and understanding just to kind of always, this life. I mean, still figuring out life. Life ain't a joke. You always gotta be aware as much as you can. At least that's my experience.
No, that's real. And I think I really appreciate surrounding myself with people who do have that level of discernment and not necessarily the lack of comfortability, but you don't get too comfortable where you at because you want to be aware of who's in the room, what are the surroundings about, just to make sure that you're taken care of, but as well as the people that you care about are taken care of. I think that there's a certain level of protection that comes with having that more discernment about your surroundings and about where you're at. And just because I know there's been a lot of people from LA on the podcast, a lot of people from LA listen to podcasts. What part of the city are you from? Because some people say Los Angeles, they mean San Fernando Valley, which I know
Yeah,
you're
no.
not talking about.
So it was. I mean, I had this conversation with somebody the other day, and I was like, Compton, Studio City, goddamn, South Central. Now I'm a child. I don't control where my father moves. I don't control where we stay. These are areas that I recall staying. Um, where you from, nigga? That's not important. Because nigga, you worry about the wrong shit. Not you, but anybody who got quit. Because that's not important. Like, is that good? That's not going to change the fact that that doesn't matter either. But Compton, South Central, Studio City, um, Inglewood, but mostly like Studio City, like not even mostly Studio City. Studio City was like the last place we did before we left LA to Louisiana. And like I know we stayed in South Central, Compton, and Inglewood. Inglewood was probably where we were for a large portion before Studio City, and then we headed to Shreveport, Louisiana. And that's what I remember. That doesn't
Mhm.
mean like I know we lived in Lancaster for like maybe a season because I saw snow and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because you know it don't snow in California. But other than that, I was like 10. I don't remember shit. I remember ass whoopings. You know what
You
I'm
stupid.
saying? I remember ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, yeah, that's what I remember specifically. Outside of that, like I know the difference between the valley. Nah, we lived in LA because my
Yeah.
dad. So he has to be where there is no studios that niggas want to go to in the valley. So and niggas going and I don't have to attest to that. Niggas who are from LA already know that. So unless they trying to like avoid something, yeah, we don't have we already know. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, yeah, it was Compton, Inglewood, South Central, Studio City. I feel like Burbank is the valley. I know that's the valley. So but that's where my younger brother was born. Just because you was born somewhere. My birth certificate says Beverly. It says Cedar Sinai. Cedar Sinai was Beverly Hills
Hmm.
50, like 30 years ago when I was born. So it's not considered Beverly Hills no more, but it was Beverly Hills 30 years ago. So
Right. Walk us through how you got to San Diego. So went from LA to Shreveport, Louisiana. How'd you get down to San Diego?
so um eventually, let's see where I'm gonna start this because everywhere what did Monet say? Every place has a chapter. Let me stop. Every story has a chapter. Or so I start where we come back to Louisiana. We come back to California from Shreveport, and we moved to Lancaster. Well, it was like yeah, we just say we moved to Lancaster. We moved to it was Quartz Hill actually. It's like this small little gated community
Hmm.
inside like Palmdale. Um, and it was interesting because from the circumstances that I had came from and the circumstances my father had came from, we had both just got out of like jail. You know, that nigga got out of the feds. I just got out of like juvenile prison, and juvenile prison in not even Shreveport, but in Louisiana, down in Baton Rouge. But um, ultimately, we come back to California. We move in to this place. It was I guess, during a housing crisis. But ultimately, we moved into a place that niggas wasn't really paying for. But
Hmm.
um, I meet a woman. I meet a girl. We date. You get serious. She joins the military. Um, in the process of me still staying where I was, she goes through boot camp and comes back and gets stationed in San Diego. So I come to San Diego because my partner at that time is going to get stationed in San Diego. So that's literally the only real reason I'm in San Diego is because who I was with at that time is from San Diego. Now I came to San Diego because I have an uncle here in San Diego like weeks before she came back to like visit, I didn't even, I was one day here in the In and Out, like it was, which one is it at? It's in like the one off the 5, right there
Mhm.
next to the mile of cars, and there was like a parking lot right across the street from the In and Out. That parking lot used to not have nothing there. He took me to drive his car there. I remember him taking me there when we came back to California, and I was like, yo, I remember coming here when like weeks before you came back. But outside of that, that's the only reason I've been to San Diego. I've been here. Shit, my daughter's 13, so I've been here almost 14 years, off and on because
Wow.
I came back, but about 14 years.
14 years. Wow. Before we get into your life as an artist and creative, as I was preparing for this podcast, I realized you are the first father to be on the Banquet Hall podcast. I haven't had anyone who is a father on the podcast. So I wanted to make sure to just give you an opportunity to talk about like what has fatherhood taught you?
Yeah, I think that's somebody I like. I could go grab books because I got shit so close to me. But Neely Fuller Jr. He has this saying where he says, "I'm still learning." I got it tattooed on me. But I think like becoming a father, um, probably especially with my daughter, because having her like changed my whole life. My daughter who's 13, who just had a birthday several days ago. That changed my whole life. That like changed my trajectory. I think I always had something different, but becoming a father, like it showed me that I'm always learning and I'm responsible. Like in the midst of all kinds of shit I got going on, I gotta like they're my responsibility. I'm not responsible for nothing else. Like I can't do nothing about a lot of shit as much as I would like to do that. My only responsibility is them. Outside of capitalism and colonialism and whatever the fuck going on, that shit don't really matter to them, and it's not going to matter when it comes to like making sure I can at least do something to show that I care. That may still not be enough. So in that aspect, I'm still learning. I think that's probably the best answer, in spite of all of what I've said. Is like becoming a father showed me that I'm still learning. I'm still learning, and that's like I'm gonna be learning until I fucking no longer breathe. So, man, I'm man, that shit is yeah, man. I'm still learning because ain't no and like there ain't no handbook. There isn't, but that just because there's no example doesn't mean you're supposed to try things and see what works. That doesn't mean you know. Oh, I don't know how to give a baby a bath. That doesn't mean put a fucking baby head first into a tub. That's not what that means. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's like some people say like some people need that, but I'm like, yeah, we grow up differently. So because I realize a lot of my parenting style is similar as my father's, as much as I'm trying not to like be abusive. He did what he could, he did what he thought was best. Like I recognize a lot of that was he did what he could wherever he was at. I still affects me. I be like that motherfucker ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? I love him, but I recognize that his parenting style was helpful because it shaped me. I'm still learning. Still to this day, I make mistakes. I'm always doing shit. So I think the sternness and like a certain level of discipline that he tried to instill in me makes me, it helps. So I try to like being a father, like I said, I'm still learning, but also allows me to show like there's like a certain level of like gotta have a certain tone, but not even that tone, but a presence that you have to have about yourself. Because it ain't just your children, other children are gonna like sense that as well. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna like it's weird as hell because I have children, and then just to have children and just to be around other people's children. It's not like saying, oh, all children are gonna no. They just sometimes just people that can hear me talk or they see me watch children or just I was like, oh, it's because I'm not saying children are bad. People don't know how to raise their kids. I think that some things are just a matter of like the energy. I don't know. Like my dad beat my ass, and I don't think I was bad. I did some dumb shit. But we ain't deserve all them ass whoopings because it wasn't like we was just doing crazy. He was just whooping our asses, dumb shit. Like where my keys and my wallet, bro. Like that ain't got nothing to do with me. So that's a big thing I do now is like keys and wallet. You know what I'm saying? So
You got them ready.
got them ready. That's a trauma response. But to answer your question, I'm still learning. I'm still learning
Yeah.
every day. I'm still learning every day.
Hey, learning is a lifelong process. And I definitely can say that's one of the things that I have recognized and truly do admire about you is that you are very transparent about you being a work in progress and you're still learning. Like whether it's that Black expression and you grab the mic and just talk about what's on your mind and being open to people's feedback, criticism, just to help you learn more about how this world operates, how this world works. And I can only imagine fatherhood, like you said, it's always a learning process. You probably learned something today, yesterday, like just through like being with your daughter and spending time with your family. Like it's a lifelong learning process for sure.
Yeah, it really is. I won't complain. We always could wish things could be better. They always could be worse. And sometimes I'm learning to focus on what I have and what's good as much as not as what I can do better, because that's what I tend to work on. Focus on is like I can do this better. I can be better here, not what I'm doing well. That's hard because I always be feeling like that's my own thing. That's my own thing. So outside of that, yeah, man, I that shit's crazy. It's always something with these kids. I just decide like my daughter, my oldest daughter, she like my mother's been dead. My own mother's been dead since I was 4, and she plays like my mother played like violin and cello and bass. My oldest daughter just started playing the bass on her own.
Wow.
I'm like,
Wow.
I'm not religious, and spirituality's got me different meanings for everybody else, and I try not to get too deep into stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? That's crazy to me. That's wild. Like, cause I'm not a singer, but I can hold a note. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a musician, but I know how to like find keys because my dad and my brother can play like great, but I can't. And then for her to like pick up and she's interested, so I'm intrigued. Like I'm like encouraging and hoping that she like does it. But it's just that's like fatherhood. I saw that video of
Mm.
his daughter on stage and that smile he had, man. Like that shit right there. Like it's fuck everything that niggas is talking about. That shit right there, you can't pay for that shit right there. That smile, that's all people want. It's like the shit that you wanted as a child. Is the support from your parents to see you doing something that you love, you enjoying, and being able to do. Man, that shit was like every time that shit had me like damn near about to cry in the gym this morning. I was like, yo, that shit was beautiful because you don't like that was a genuine smile. It wasn't that fake shit. You know them smiles
Nah.
he putting on. That shit was real. He was like, bruh. But yeah, man, that's what fatherhood will do to you. And then they'll have you like, man, why you got me up this early, bruh? But um, that's life. You know what I'm saying? I could be up doing some bullshit.
Hey man, well, I know that your daughter appreciates it. Being a father sounds like something that's very rewarding, challenging, educational. Not wishing that on myself anytime soon, but I'll be sure if and when it happens for me, I'll come to you for some of your wisdom.
I'll tell you what I know, but shit, every you're gonna be a different. I mean, if that's something you decide to do, which hey, you know what I'm saying, I give you what I know, but it's gonna be how you gotta figure out what's best for you too, because let me tell you something. No, I'm just playing. Kids is something else. I love it.
Hey, I only want to imagine right now, so I'm gonna stick in imagination land as far as the kids go. But GJ, let's go ahead and get into who you are as a creative. I've alluded to the fact that you're part of the Black Expression team. Folks have seen you at Black Expression, whether it's on the mic, behind the lens of the camera, carrying around your daughter on your chest. And I want to start off by asking, how do you define yourself as an artist slash creative?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I think that even the word artist is hard to artist and creative is hard for me. These are two words that I battle with because I don't even know if that's like really who I am, you know.
Mhm.
Because I've been around music all my life because my father's a producer, so I feel like because I wasn't able to like express myself it's not even say, because being able to express myself is one part of who I am, and the aspect of why I'm a rapper and why I do poetry, why I do some of the things I'm doing. But also like music was something that I was like drawn to because of what I was sold a dream to believe. So um I'm not, because it shifted from like I'm gonna get rich off this shit to like I want to change people. So for me, I don't even
Mm,
consider that like, and I realize I can't change people, but as much as I want to change how people think, like create new narratives, really just kind of shift the thinking, because you really, and then see what people make people think about shit that they don't really think about. Because what I learned in like some early stages of like knowledge is like people think about a lot of shit, but they don't say it out loud because they're worried about everyone else. And I said a lot of shit
mm,
just, and people, a lot of rappers, local rappers in San Diego, you know what I'm saying, was like, and it's we in the studio. And they were like, I think about that shit all the time. And it's like, we high, we talking, we high, niggas doing nigga shit. But realistically, the things that I was saying is like people think and feel about that shit all the time. It's just they don't speak out loud about it. Cause whatever the consequences or repercussions of shit is understandable. So for me, I be trying to get people to think differently, or at least to see, as Monet would say, is think about their thinking. Because I'm not like, I don't think I'm an artist or a creative, because I don't do this shit for creativity or to be an artist. I'm like expressing myself because
mm.
I'm able to like do that as a child, because I wasn't able to do that through my life. I was like, so, and I've been or being able to articulate myself. So even when you say define yourself, like Blackitarian, however I'm gonna do this, Blackitarian, um, it was like when my daughter was born, and I was going through all these little different meetings. So like even in the situation with Gaza, I was like doing shit with those people or people that were involved in that then. Like when my daughter was born, like in 2012, before that, you know what I'm saying? She was born in 2010, but in the spaces where things were going on in different meetings, because I was like, yo, I gotta become a better person because I'm a father. I'm a father. I gotta be able to answer a question. So for me, going through these processes and being able to like go to these different meetings and meeting different people is like, okay, well, I came across Uhuru in Peter, the African Socialist Party, and it talked about, Chairman O'Malley talked about defining yourself. So really just hearing what defining yourself means, because that's kind of what you're saying is Blackitarian. So I was like, well, I'm a humanitarian, but they don't treat me like I'm human. So
Mm.
basically, Blackitarian is a play on humanitarian, black and black. So I just basically took human off because, nigga, we humans, but are we? Because when I say I'm pulled over by the police and they be like, what's your race? And I say human race, and this nigga laughing like it's a joke. Like, nigga, ain't nothing funny. Nigga, I'm a fucking human. Why is this a joke? But if I get pressed, it's a problem. Um, Blackitarian is ultimately the idea of defining myself, who I am. It's like I don't have the definition on hand because it's always changing, but it's basically all of us in, whether it be through slavery, whether it be through, migration, all of us who have this skin color, saying for the greater good for all of us. I have a better breakdown definition probably on my page. I just hate to not like, if it's not word for word, then I'm not gonna say it because I don't remember it exactly. But in the aspect of defining who I am, that's like it's a matter of thinking and being able to tell people um things on my mind and create conversation, because I'm not an artist. I don't think I'm a creator. I'm that's not who I am. I'm not gonna like talk shit about none of that shit because people are offensive or soft or whatever. That's probably not the right thing to say. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm just keeping it real because I don't think I'm an artist or creator because I don't do this shit for art because this is perfect. I don't do this shit for art because niggas talk about I ain't gonna do this. Yes, I am. Fuck it. Andre 2000 to do this shit for the flute. Like, nigga, this is art, but this is like art is a reflection of the time. We're supposed to tell about the time. That's what true artistry is to reflect the time. So whether it be like fucked up circumstance, because that's the true definition of hip hop, is like hip hop was made in the gutter in the presence of like circumstance of this is fucked up. Nigga, we got hip hop because these niggas took our instruments out of school. I remember I was in school in Louisiana, niggas was giving us saxophones and trumpets and shit, you know what I'm saying? Which is wild. But the idea is hip hop is about like telling a story of like how fucked up this shit is, and then it's got all CrossFit. And that niggas is doing all kinds of wild shit. And I think it's even more disrespectful than a nigga playing the flute. I mean, it's fucked up. The niggas is people bouncing their asses and shit to it, you know what I'm saying? Do all kinds of wild shit. Like, nigga, they had Webby doing White Be Down at the Grammys, and niggas call that like accomplishment. I think that shit is yo. But that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Cause I think like, nigga, fuck the Grammys. Because why do we care about what they talking about? And now they saying this is a good job. Because what's the first hip hop Grammy they gave niggas? Was it It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp? Nigga, come on, nigga. What are we on? Nigga, that's the matter of like who I am. So when you ask who I am as a person, I'm like, nigga, what the fuck are we on? Because it's not about, I'm not trying to make you feel good at all. I ain't trying to make you feel bad as much as maybe that's what you fucking need to get your shit together. Because that's really what it's about, at least for me. Because I'm okay with like, I'm gonna be uncomfortable. I'm gonna be mad. I don't want to like do that. But if it's like right, if it's gonna help me, give it to me. And if I need the space, give me the space so then I can receive it. But I'm not against hearing what's necessary, because like fuck all that bullshit. At least that's defining who I am as a person, because like we need to progress as people. I would want people to want the best out of me. I'm not saying that we don't need like cushion or we need to like be patient. Yeah, patient. Patience is a good word. But patience has tolerance. You know what I'm saying? And conditions, people talking about unconditional, yeah, shit got conditions. I ain't finna sit here and play that shit, because like if we not conditional, if we don't have tolerance, then we just gonna keep getting ran the fuck over. Like this is fuck that. Like what did somebody say? And I'm gonna let you get to the next question, because I know I'm
No, you good.
If you're standing at a line, you got a border, and you like, nigga, you can't cross this shit, and a nigga keep walking him to the line and keeps like, you gotta keep pushing this nigga back. Now, at a certain point, you look down, you're not even at your line. This nigga done invaded your space. But unless you could at least keep pushing this back, or you could just knock this nigga out. Now people are like, oh, that's no, like, because he gonna keep pushing towards you. Say, hey, don't cross this line, and he's like, all right, get back. It's only gonna get one get back. You know what I'm saying? And we've like done too many get backs, and now it's like, oh my god, look what's happening. Hey, what's happening, nigga? Look, nigga. What the fuck is you talking about?
Your looks be killing me sometimes, because the way you be looking at me, like, you know what I'm talking about.
I think that's like a black thing. Niggas be like, nigga.
It'd be so many times that black expression, I feel like you give me that look in the middle of a performance or something, and I just want to tell you to shut up in my head. I'm like, don't give me that look, because I know exactly what you're thinking right now, and you did not have to look at me like that. First, thank you for that response. I think that that's why I want people to define themselves, because I don't want to come on this podcast and say GJ is X, Y, and Z. I want you to be able to define who you are for yourself. And I appreciate you going into depth about what Blackitarian means for you and why like that is important to you. To me, you are an artist. I will go out and just say that I do believe that you are an artist by my definition of an artist, but I fully respect like your definition of who you are for yourself. And I'm probably leave it at this one question, follow-up question for you. But did you listen to the Three Stacks Flute album yet?
Have I?
Yeah.
I haven't, and I plan on doing it. So I'm not like I'm going to do it. So I'm going to, because you asked me to do it, because I've been like fuck that, because I'm real like I say, I'm an extremist. So I'm like, yeah, fuck that. It may be. I'm not gonna say it's probably not good, because that's not what it's about for me. It's not whether if it's good or not. It's a matter of that he's a hip hop artist. He said the South has something to say in the midst of niggas talking shit about them niggas winning whatever award there was. Then he like goes away and does whatever he does. This is as a critic of hip hop. Like, I got the right to do this. If we can do this shit, I'm doing it like we doing. So he goes away, and then, niggas think he gonna do an album, and then this nigga releases an album playing the flute. And then they say this shit's a hip hop album, and it's like charting high for this nigga. Maybe he said something, but for me, it's like, it's mad. It's like, it's disrespectful, because I don't listen to certain. I feel you. It's certain music I don't listen to already, but that's to me, like, I think like I think Big Boy's a better rapper, but that was before any of this shit even happened. Like niggas this is the nigga they say is at the top he's a top 10 rapper of all time. I'm like, nigga, not before the fucking flute shit. Where? Now he got the flute shit and he's a top 10. Bro, get the fuck out of here, man. That shit's wild. But that's my personal opinion and that's my view. Now, I don't be want to argue with niggas because I don't really give a fuck. I really don't care because I don't think that if we're talking about rappers, I don't think niggas is better than Lupe Fiasco. I don't think niggas is better than Black Thought. I don't think niggas is better than like it's niggas I know that are dope. Like, you know, Lou Sadam is dope. Nigga, goddamn, Same Shoes is dope. I got other homies that niggas have probably never heard of. DJ Rice is dope. Martin McFly is dope. Nigga, Von Dream is dope. Man, I'm dope. If niggas take the time to listen to what I'm saying. But there's a lot of people that think that they who they listen to is dope. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it ain't nothing against Andre 3000 and what he got. I don't give a fuck about no Flute album. That's just keeping it real. So it's like I think that shit is disrespectful to the culture. And in the midst of like people getting bombs dropped on their head, he got the nerve to fucking play flutes talking about what I'm going to talk about, my colostomy. Boy, get the fuck about here. Lil Wayne can still rap about whatever the fuck he rapping about, and you talking, I gotta go play a flute. Nigga, Lil Wayne was out here playing the guitar and singing an auto-tune and still releasing music. And he was like, yeah, this ain't it, Chief. And he went back to rapping. But, oh, you nigga got to play a flute. All right, bro.
But you know my one rebuttal to you is though you ain't listened to it yet.
Man, that shit, see, if that's the only argument, and if I like, this is like.
But no, wait, but let me cook a little bit more. Just because I hear what you say, though. And I think anywhere that is charting this album as hip hop, it's not a hip hop album. And I even just looked it up right now. The technical genre that it is officially released under is new age, ambient jazz, and spiritual discovery. Like,
right,
that's
they probably that shit. That's good. That's good. They probably got that shit right because nigga, and even then,
it's like, not hip hop.
And it's not to say that niggas can't do nothing different. I'm not saying that. That's cool. But it's not a button. Man, whatever, you know, what our people, if you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? And we already know what the fuck that means, but you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'll listen to it because you asked me, and a lot of people have said it, and I'm not like that type of person because I don't like Eminem, but I like songs that Eminem is on.
Like, yeah, and at the end of the day, it's music.
Huh?
At the end of the day, it's music, and everybody's entitled to like or dislike whatever. I just like people listening to it before they trash it.
I mean, I give you that's fair. You don't even know. You haven't even seen you haven't even watched the movie. And I'm like, okay, I gotta watch Black Panther 2 to tell you that shit is trash. I bet. I watched the movie. It's trash. So you wanna know why it's trash, nigga? Let's start with the beginning. All right, now let me go ahead. Keep going. Let me stop.
So we're gonna have to have a whole second podcast of just stuff we disagree on.
People want to give you like, I gotta do this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in school. I gotta write shit down and give people points. And then you like, people, are they gonna listen to the points? And then I gotta have a rebuttal for the point. I'm like, all right, you know what? You got it, because I don't care. But but we, like we say, it's all subjective, because that's one thing. Because it's like I be looking at like details. It's not about the culture for me. It's about like purpose and what's the benefit of this. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not to say that the music or the flute is not helpful or it's not healing people.
Yeah.
If that is doing, then you know, I'm happy for the people that it's doing. But it's not stopping bombs. It's not stopping niggas from eating McDonald's. It's not niggas from like being there for their families. It's not stopping all kinds of other shit. So it's good for the people that's listening to it, but it's not like changing. It's not like, you know, it's not like niggas getting higher, knowing with a hieroglyph is gonna give them superpowers. You know what I'm saying? So niggas, hey, nigga, it's real life. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is like, that's real ass shit. Like, that's who I am though. That's like, I'm not finna be
I feel it.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, people probably not gonna like me after, and I don't give a fuck, but it's okay.
Yeah. It's not about that though. What I know people are going to ask though is what song is stopping all this? What song does Andre 3 Stacks need to come out with that's going to change the whole world? What song does Andre 3000 need to drop that's going to satisfy GJ the God?
It's not about me.
I'm just fucking with you.
It's not about me because.
Nah, but I honestly love it because podcasts are more interesting when there are disagreements, when you can hear somebody's strong opinion on something. And I think that you have very valid points. And I think once you mention why you were upset about the album and the statement he made about the South has something to say and just how much you revere hip hop. All of that makes sense. I just was like, nah, like I like the flute.
Hey, I like that when your was it Ian came in with the saxophone? Man, I was like, hell, I love the saxophone. I love the trumpet. And I love like music because I grew up in the house, man. I'm like I grew up like around musicians, so it's like I don't have a problem with that, but don't play with me, bro. Don't do that because I'm not finna play that. Like niggas is, oh yeah, like I know these niggas ain't like got real music. I know that shit sample. I know you niggas ain't no real producers. I know you niggas don't have no like can't play no instruments. Like I'm not stupid. It still sound good. Don't try to like, oh, it's a flute. I don't, and then like it's just like it's like I didn't watch the whole interview, and you know the internet is real good for like giving you like these clickbaits, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, but when the nigga say what I'm gonna rap about my colonoscopy or some shit, when he said, I was like, yo, they did that shit as clickbait, but for you said that shit, nigga, like really, that shit, ooh.
I'm gonna have to stop you before Andre Three Stacks cancel this podcast. I'm still trying to make it out here. I can't be having too much Andre 3000 slander on the podcast today. So Andre 3000, if you listen to this, these are the opinions of GJ.
Yeah.
I fucked with the flute album. I got that shit on repeat. That
I'm pretty sure it's great. I'm pretty sure it's like one of the greatest albums of all time. And that's like I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm so fucking serious. Like just because I don't like it don't mean it's not loved by lots of people. So you know what I'm saying? Niggas don't like my music. That don't mean it's trash.
Hey, and your music isn't trash at all. I was listening to some of your discography on Spotify right before recording this podcast. I like when before I'm recording with a guest, I like to listen to projects that you have, look at your Instagram pages just to get myself in the mindset of who people are as people and the content they put out there. And what I really appreciate about your sound and your music, you could tell, I think Blackitarian is just a perfect kind of moniker for you because I think that when I was listening to the music, you could tell there's a love for Black people. There's a love for Black families. There's a love for community within your music. Like your music reminded me a lot of songs that I would want to like listen to with the homies or riding around with the homies in a car listening to because it's real life. You're not just going for trying to find the sauciest bar you can find, but it's like real life music. So I definitely validate and appreciate that aspect of your craft as a I'm not gonna say the word artist as a Blackitarian. I listened to like 6 or 7 songs before we started recording. I really was rocking with your music. What do you hope people gain when they listen to your music though? I think that's the question I had for you.
I mean, I hope that it like inspiring some type of like thought, or some type of like interest into go do some research into what I say. Because the bigger thing that I try to let people know is like, um, you know, you need to do your own fucking research. Like you gotta do your own work in this world. You can't take some shit for face value because somebody said something. So as much as it may sound good or feel good or it's interesting, don't take my word for it. Go do your own research because I could be wrong. I might have been right then. Things change. But I think the bigger thing is it's important for people to go do the work because a lot of the time we allow what someone else says to like be law without actually doing the research and doing the work for ourselves. And that like things have become too much like that. So even so more so it's about like the album or any of the music. It's a matter of like if anything people should get from is like do the work, do the research. Um, ain't nothing gonna really get done unless you get the fuck up and like figure it out and like you know find people around you that are on the same page, whether it's like the shit that I'm talking about or anything. Motherfuckers run the world with what they believe in because they got a group of motherfuckers that believe that shit. And I think that people don't get that. Like families run the world. It ain't got shit to do with nothing else. Some shit is not that fucking hard. It's real simplistic. We make shit way more complex and more like spooky. Like, so the bigger thing is to like try to make this shit simple, work with what's effective. And that's like probably more so what I'm going in like the future and like the newer stuff. Because you know, try to make shit simple because it's like, man, I could talk all that. I'm not lyrical. I could be lyrical, but that ain't necessarily gonna get the point across. I'm a Lupe Fiasco fan, and man, I'm telling you right now, that nigga got bars that I'm like, I hear, I'm like, yo, wait a minute, I just understand what the fuck he just said in a different way now. Like, what the fuck? I am not trying to make bars like that. As much as I do want you to think about what I'm saying, and I want things to be simple. So sometimes I feel like people get caught up in the art of hip hop where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be complex. I got dope bars. I'm gonna rap. I'm gonna I mean, metaphors and it's supposed to simplify shit. You're supposed to make shit sound dope and simplify it so people can understand what the fuck's going on. You're supposed to give niggas game. That's the whole, like, that's the art of this shit. At least that's the idea. It's different for everybody else. I'm not saying I ain't trying to make no motherfucking money, but I learned a long time ago, I'm not finna get rich off of music. I can make some money out of it, but I want to change lives. It's about the impact. So I want to impact people's lives. I want people to gain something from it, to like want to be better. Cause I don't want it to be a listen as much as it's like I take this and use it. Cause I got like homies of music. I got homies that got music that I've been listening to the album for 10 years. Like one is like he got all his music is dope. But the album he made, like one album he made 10 years ago when he was like a Nation of Islam Muslim, man, that fucking album slaps. I tell him every time I get to I say, nigga, whenever I feel like shit, I'm not religious. I'm not religious at all, but every time I feel a certain type of way, I play these certain songs, I play this album, bro, it get me in the right spirit all the time. Like all the time. I'm not a Muslim. I don't believe in Jesus. The idea of those people are cool, but that shit so I understand the power of music. It can change your mood. It can make you like positive. It can like make you more depressed. It can make you more sad. It can make you more hyped, especially like in a gym. You know what I'm saying? So I want people to be like impacted by what I'm saying, and it affects them and it makes them like think more, you know what I'm saying? But they also gotta go do the research because none of that shit come from like just experience as much as it come from like reading books, getting my head hit, getting hurt, and then I was like, I can't say learn from me because that's stupid. I know now more than ever. You can't tell a motherfucker to learn from me. They're gonna watch your example and still do what the fuck they want to do, or they're gonna have to bump their head. Like that's the reality we're in. We're not in the environment where, you know what I'm saying, we gotta learn a certain type of way. And if you make a mistake, there's consequences, and then you can correct that behavior. Nigga, you fuck up, that could be an end all be all. Or you can fuck up and be okay depending on your environment. You're like, oh, it's not that bad, it's not that big of a deal, and then you become an adult, and then it's all bad. So, people to listen to my music and to enjoy it, but also, you know what I'm saying, I hopefully get something from them because the Blackitarian, the album is older. You know what I'm saying? I was when I was like younger into the knowledge that I was in. A lot of stuff is like a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more like I wouldn't say it's I feel different, but it's like some of that shit that I like to say when I be talking to Monet is like I think I went from one delusion to another when I went from like religion and I wasn't religious before I was, but just I think things are like delusions. And because they become like confirmation bias to us and they make us feel good, we get caught. And I'm like, I don't like to be comfortable. That shit probably make me more uncomfortable to be like too comfortable. So for me, it's like, all right, this sounds good, but why are they telling me this? Why they got me looking over here? What's going on over here? Because that tends to be the bigger thing. So it's like, well, why are you telling me this shit? What benefit do you have from telling me this? So for me, I'm like always trying to understand angles. So for me, the earlier music, especially the Blackitarian music, that's like right in the minute. It's like it's a vibe. You start hearing them fucking goddamn the inserts with like Saru, Sed, and Seti. If anybody know who some of them motherfuckers is on there, they be like, who the fuck? But yeah, them niggas was fire heat, giving heat back 10 years ago on the internet when YouTube was spicy. Niggas was in New York on the fucking internet giving niggas the black woman is God, nigga type shit. So and that was part of my growth. There's a lot of shit I learned from that. It just kind of like shaped me. It's like I can't be like them niggas, but I got the same, energy. But like, with the With Me single and the Selfish single, those songs are a little bit, I think they're more personal about who I am as a person. I think they're like, but they simple and everything's in there. I think some shit, people trying to, what is that? No, nigga, you heard what I said. That shit is not
clear as day.
It's clear. I'm not, nigga, there's, assembly in the metaphor when you say it, and you know what the fuck I said when I said, nigga, get $1 billion, build a nation. Anyway.
Clear cut. Clear as day. Clear as day for sure. Before we transition out of talking about music, I have to ask this. What's the story behind the name GJ the God? How did that become what you go by?
Wow. So we'll just do it in parts. GJ is the name that my mother called me before I died. And GJ means basically, I learned years later, like almost when like I'm 34, I learned like I was 27. GJ meant Gregory Jr. So I didn't know that. I thought GJ was just Greg Jackson or Gregory Jackson because I'm Gregory Jackson, like my dad. People would call my dad G Jack. So when I grew up, niggas would call me, you know, me and my brother, Lil G Jacksters. You know what I'm saying? So when I started making music, I would go by like GJ, and then I was in Job Corps. It was a freestyle battle, a bunch of rappers. I don't even know if this nigga's still alive. I don't know where he at. We was in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana. He used to call himself the dopest. So that nigga, we rapped, and then we was like supposed to make a group, and that nigga never came back after leave. I was like, all right, well, my name is GJ the Dopest. So I went by GJ the Dopest for a while. And then when I started getting more into like knowledge, um, you know, the idea of God is like, for me, means like, I studied the 5%ers for a while. You know, I did some math. I did some math. That shit sound goofy as hell to me when I say it like that. I, I studied with them and, study the supreme mathematics, at least get the understanding at least from my grasp, what I can use for me. And, the bigger thing that I took from it is like, I don't control nothing but the things that I have in my cipher. So what I say yes to, what I say no to, I have the power to build and destroy. Destroy is not a negative sense of as much as like, nigga, get the fuck away from me. Like, you're not gonna fuck up none of this shit. And if I gotta fuck you up to keep you away from me, then that's so be it. And that may be evil to you, but you're not considering the evil you transpired upon me. So the idea of God is like, I am in control. I am not the God. I don't believe in like no shit like that. Ever people like, oh, we don't know the name. We can't, make no difference. And at that point, when I was studying 5%ers, I was studying the Bible. And it was somewhere in the Bible. I gotta find a verse. So whenever niggas talk to me, I can say, yeah, it's like somewhere in the Bible I was reading because I like to study. Got books all over the place. I studied, it was somewhere in the Bible, was basically saying a pope is God on earth. And I was like, nigga, if he's God on earth, then nigga, I'm God, because he's not finna be the God of me. You know what I'm saying? And that's the perception of like the idea of when Jesus left. And this is like, it's in the fucking Bible. I somewhere in that motherfucker now. Nigga can correct me and say, no, that's not what that means. You're leading on your own interpretation. Outside of all of that, the concept became GJ the God because I am God of myself. So it's like GJ means God's justice. If we break it down like that for people, because people are like, what does God, what does GJ mean? Or what is GJ? Because it's tongue twister. But overall, GJ the God, purpose, power, being able to like everything I mean is because that's what, when you hear the word God, what do you mean? You mean authority. It means like someone that you need to respect, someone who's respectful, someone who holds themselves to the highest esteem. Like, so it's like, I don't think I'm better than no one as much as I'm doing what I need to do to be a better person. Now, if that offends you, I'm sorry. And honestly, I don't fucking care because I'm not really sorry either. But I ain't trying to cause no problems either. You know what I'm saying? Because like people want you to be a certain type of way. So now I make this shit too fucking long because I can talk, as you can see.
Hey, it's a podcast. You're supposed to talk on a podcast.
So yeah, but that's the idea. GJ the guy came from like studying and recognizing like I have power in the thing I create. I create life. I create problems. I can solve problems. Me being in control is very important because when I get totally out of control, it fucks up my environment. It fucks up my cipher. So a lot of the science behind the shit in the 5%, it made like, it was like, oh, this is logical. Like, nigga, you screaming is gonna cause a problem. You smoking in a place where it says don't smoke is going to be a problem, especially if you loud and with a bunch of niggas. But if you smoking over here by yourself away from everybody or with a few people and you niggas is not making a bunch of fucking noise, that's not going to cause too many problems. Basically like probability, looking at circumstances that could be more of a problem if you do certain, it just really like, it was like to me, what I gained from that shit was like, it's logic. Now people's like, it's not that simple. Nigga, yes it is. We just want to make sure it's something, it's not, it's no magic pill. It's not that hard. It's our circumstances are hard, and sometimes the decisions that we have to make are more difficult than we want to make. And it's like, oh, we got to do this. Gonna make me uncomfortable. It is. Do you really want to do the work or no? So God means being responsible and making the hard decisions, even if that shit hurts. Man, that shit hurts all the time. But it's like, what I'm gonna do? I gotta be responsible because at the end of the day, I'm responsible anyway. So I might as well take the highest esteem that I could take for myself and not look at myself at the lower because I had a low self-esteem. So saying that I'm God, that means nigga, there ain't no lowness to yourself. You already see it. It doesn't matter what anybody else pedestal, fuck their pedestal. That shit is not fuck with their like that shit is not important to me as much as what I stand on for myself. So yeah, GJ the God is like, yeah, nigga, I'm the God of my cipher, of my space. If I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. If you fucking with, I'm not gonna play that shit. And I don't give a fuck. I'm not looking to cause no problems, but it's no problem. Like that nigga 50 Cent said, like, nigga, don't please, I don't want no problems, bro. None. And being in like being God, it means it's offensive to people because that means you're trying to people take that you because you want to hold yourself at a higher level that you think that you're better. And I've been dealing with that shit since I moved from California to Louisiana. So it's like, yo, because now I see myself at this high esteem. Man, fuck you. That's not my problem that you don't like. I can't, I'm sorry. That's not that, and I don't really care. It's like, and I know I can't whoop everybody's ass as far as like being a God. You be like, all right, I know I can't say everything all the time in certain spaces. Sometimes it's important to learn to shut the fuck up. Like that's understanding. A God is like, I'm in control, and sometimes when you like out of control, you're no longer a God. Who is God of you if you are getting mad, if you're screaming, if you're like putting your hands on people, if you don't know how to control your sexual urges, if you don't know how to eat certain food, like nigga, that's what all that shit means to me. And so when people see me working out or see me doing something, because it's like, remember, I'm like, well, I'm doing this shit because I'm trying to be the best I can be every day. I'm doing the most. I'm an extremist, nigga. I'm like, it ain't got nothing more than it's like I'm a living, existing being. You know what I'm saying? And we're humans, and like, you know what I'm saying? So we're machines. And I feel I'm better when I'm getting up doing this shit than sitting down being depressed and feeling sorry for myself or like feeling bad about mistakes. Me getting up and working, it helps me work through that shit. And then it's like, okay, I at least did this. Then I can move to the next step. It's just a process of like growth. So being God, that's the idea, is just being responsible. Like, all right, the best thing to do is sit my ass down. Get your ass up and go to the gym. Just staying consistent is gonna help you. So it's just being
Yeah.
responsible. It's like a responsibility more than anything.
Absolutely. And this is one of the questions I was most interested in getting your response to, because I can only imagine with like GJ the God being the name that's on your Instagram that you go by, I'm sure there's plenty of people who have questions about like why the use of God in your name, like whether it's a religious thing, whether it's not a religious thing. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to go in depth about that. The most important follow-up question I could ask to that: who wins in a fight between Charlemagne the God and GJ the God? No, I'm just
I'm gonna beat
messing
the
with you.
fuck out of him. I am his ass. He ain't even got no fight in him.
I knew that was gonna be yes, so I was just messing around. But no, I think that people are going to appreciate your honesty and with regards to who you are and what your name means for you, which is why naming is so important, whether it's the name that we go by or artist name, just because there's so much that you can gain from names. But that's why I value asking people those questions. Why do you go by this? Why do you go by this? Because I could just have assumptions on why you call yourself GJ the God, or I could take the time to have a conversation with you and listen to that explanation. So definitely thanking you for that. I definitely had another question with regards to that, but it totally lost my mind. I will also say that this is probably going to be the most explicit episode of the Banquet Hall podcast, and I'm excited for it.
Damn. Yeah, I see. That's you said, hey, you can beat me. I'm a hey, cuz.
And no, that's what I say at first. Like, I want people to be 1,000% themselves, because that's real. Otherwise, I'm fabricating a story that isn't real. Like, I want people to have a true, authentic experience on who people are. And I think that there's so many politics or respectability over using curse words, not using curse words, saying the quote unquote the N word, not saying the N word. I want people to be able to be themselves, and whether or not you're cursing while you're speaking, that shouldn't take away any validity from what you're saying, which is why before I even start recording, I always let my guests know, like, hey, you can cuss up a storm if you want, or you can keep it 100% clean if you want. Totally up to you.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, for sure. But let's start with working out, because we talked about being at the gym. You have workout journals that people can purchase from you. What led you to want to provide workout journals for people? Why is journaling workouts important?
I'm not tripping.
No, you're not tripping. I saw that too.
What the fuck going on back here? Uh, uh, yeah. So, man, I don't know. I got another book somewhere. They look like this. So I was in the military for a little bit, and I had a bunch of these. And I was in the gym one day. here's the second one. I was in the gym one day, and I just like, yo, I got this shit that I saw people been writing bullshit, writing their workouts down. Like that ain't a new concept. Like bodybuilders and they've been doing this shit for centuries, for decades. Decades. So watching the videos, I don't consider myself a bodybuilder, but I'm like, I like to learn. So for me, I'm a student. That's why I'm still learning. So it's like, if I don't like learning, for me is like, I like to learn. So if I don't feel like I can learn, I ain't trying to hear none of that shit. So for me, writing it down was kind of like a concept of like, I get to see the work that I'm doing and to see what's effective at that time. Obviously, you can get more detail into like calories and food. That's super extreme. I think even writing shit down is extreme. But it was just the idea to have like it was like routine. You know, I think there's power in writing shit down. I think that we've got so fucking caught up in like these phones that we can get distracted in whatever that we're doing at that time. And that was something I found myself doing and seeing other people doing, is getting caught up changing the song or scrolling. And it's not to say that I still don't grab my phone and scroll. It's just I don't do it so much because the whole key is like the book is like I wrote my set down, compared to people having, oh, I got this app that I can write this set down, or my phone tells me this working. I think that shit is like, it's just as much as it's convenient, it can be distracting. So the book for me was like, I'm more involved in the workout because I gotta write this shit down. Yes, it's like it's being inconvenient makes it a convenience because like I gotta do this, I gotta do this. All right, boom, now that gives me time to take a break in between the set. Then I can like put the set down, how much weight, and then I'm progressively running, and then I can look back. Let's say I forgot what I did yesterday, or oh, I felt stronger 2 weeks ago. I can go back 2 weeks and look at what I wrote down. And then with this journal that I wrote, I made it where you got like your pre-workout thoughts or some like a positive affirmation. I mean, and then at the end of it, it has like, how do you feel after the workout? It doesn't have to be a positive affirmation because shit, the last two couple days, I'm here. Make better decisions have been like my for the last 2 or 3 beginning of each workouts. And at the end of each one of them has been like, I've been energized. I felt better. So the idea is to get, we tend to run from routine, which is a form of religion. So for me, I'm trying to like develop rituals and develop things that can like help improve a person. So it's like, it gets you getting caught because it's easy. We get up on our phone and you'll scroll and time will pass. And you won't get shit done, or people start talking. Like I don't like to talk in the gym. I'm not against it, but we can talk and work out. So for me, it's like I get to see my progression in while I'm working out, but also it allows me to stay focused on what I'm doing. And then I can always look back. So it's like I think it's important for like history, for your own history, but for your own detail, but for you to see your progress. You know what I'm saying? I think every people say like niggas take pictures. Like if you don't get it, count until we take a picture. You know what I'm saying? Niggas was writing shit down before. So you know what I'm saying? I think it's important to like have some sense of, oh, I did this many. Did you really do this shit? Because then it's like a lot of times people be cheating themselves. It's not a matter of saying that this is going to make you not cheat yourself as much as it gives you inconvenient way to write something down that takes away a lost art that people don't have no more. Like people don't write shit down no more. I was like, that's why I like it, because I realized I don't write no more. I don't write. And I hate that can't like, not even say I can't memorize a poem. I haven't taken the time to memorize shit. Like I haven't doing that. And then I feel like writing is like, it's like whether people talking about all that spiritual shit, and writing is where the power is, nigga. That's how we fucking putting shit in phones and wonder why these niggas coming up with our ideas.
Hey, I think that the workout journals is such a great idea
I'm
too. Because
sorry.
what you sorry for?
No, I threw that off. But yeah, the workout journal overall is a matter of like, it's a matter of writing shit down and maintaining a sense of like detail of what you're doing. Because man, that shit, I feel like it's effective because then I could like, damn, why am I weaker? And I may not remember what I ate, but then I can be like, okay, what was going on around this time? We all be on social media. We all can kind of get an idea of what we were doing. Maybe you are writing down your macros, your calories, and all this other shit. But it's good to have a system, whether regardless of whatever you're following. It's good to have structure to follow. And I think like having something to write down. I'm going to the gym right now, my pre-thoughts, working out, whether however many exercise you're doing, however many exercises or sets, you got something to log that shit and have control of it. Because if you look at all the great bodybuilders, all the motherfuckers who've been doing this shit for decades, these niggas got motherfucking tablets, these motherfuckers. Not like this, but they got all kinds of motherfucking papers where they done wrote every workout, every set down for years and years and years and years. And I was like, these niggas are on to something. And then, it's not like they don't have already their own workout books and shit like that in the world. I just wanted to put my own spin on it. And it was like, now that I'm using the one that I designed, I was like, I like it. I can like change. There's things in there that I know I can change, but overall, I like, even when we designed it, I had it with a concept. It's like, because the idea of working out is not just, people, it's everything is trendy now and should be bullshit. So, but it's like, I went in that motherfucker to start working out really because I was depressed and I was like overweight, and you know what I'm saying, but more so I was depressed. But also people talk about, oh, this is, you need to get your body right and get your mind right. Well, are you thinking about your mind when you're working out? Are you writing down your thoughts, walking that bitch? Or are you writing that shit down afterwards? What are you listening to? Because niggas, I mean, we all listen. I know I be listening to bullshit in the gym, nigga. Webby, nigga, Boosie, Zero. I be listening to why, and I be in that bitch gigging. But are you still writing down what you felt before and what you felt after? What are you taking from that? It's like, even if it's just a moment, because sometimes people just walk in that motherfucker and do whatever. I see people in the gym who meditate. There's not a lot of niggas that come in the gym and meditate. And the only nigga I seen do it, it's one black dude and like a bunch of like, I'm gonna say Asians, because I don't know if they Filipinos or Vietnamese. Most of the time, if you think about it, mostly Filipinos. People are Filipino because of like the Navy, but I'm gonna say Asian. But they're them and that one nigga, the only motherfuckers I seen in the gym meditating. Anybody else in that bitch meditating at all? Like, I'm not playing, like sitting there with the whole shit meditating. One nigga, and he's like my age, meditating and shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that with regards to the process of journaling prior to the workout, after the workout, I love the way that you frame that and why you have the journal set up that way, because we always talk about writing things down as a way to commit things to memory, as a way of affirming things, cementing things. And I think that it can cause people to be a lot more intentional with their workouts and being more mindful. I think is the word I was looking for, being more mindful with regards to their workout plan, their routine, because yeah, otherwise I feel like I'm just kind of just going through the motion and not really having an intentional goal or being very present with those workouts. So for any listeners trying to get on track of their fitness journey and just get your mind right before that workout, definitely encourage y'all to tap in with the workout journals. I also want to make sure that I had time to go. You might have the most Instagrams out of any person I know on planet Earth.
I don't got that many. I think I got about like 4 or 5.
I count 5 right now. So maybe not the most out of anybody on planet Earth, but definitely probably the most out of people I know. But I wanted to make sure as we transition towards the tail end of the episode that people had a complete idea of just all the different things that you do. So we talked about working out in the workout journals. You also have this IG page, Train for Life with GJ. What do you enjoy most about helping people with their fitness journeys?
Yeah, I think the biggest, I think a better question would be, is the biggest challenge
Mm.
is, for people to find out their why. Because I think finding out why you are here is going to keep you to get through the days that are hard and get you through the days that you don't want to show up for yourself. The days, because there's going to be days that it's going to be a lot more days where it's not going to feel good. And then there may be times where you have a flow where things will work out. So the bigger thing is like finding out the why. And hopefully it's not some type of like vanity shit, because if it's vanity, I can't. I try to avoid that because I can't really help people who are looking to look a certain type of way, because I didn't get this way overnight. It took time, and even now, that was never the goal. Yeah, I want like 6 like abs and shit, but that's something that I personally want. That's not like nothing other than the fact that I never had them, and I want to see if I can do it because I haven't got so far in progress. So the biggest challenge is, or at least not just to reframe the question, is like, finding for people to find their why so you can stay motivated. Because sometimes, you have to adjust. Sometimes you might hurt yourself. People want to progress and move too fast. People don't know their own levels and their own pace, and they want to do shit because they be on the internet looking at niggas do shit that's not real. So it's like, you gotta know your own. You gotta like work within your own capacity and then progressively move past that when you know, get comfortable. But then you got to start with your why. So if you out here trying to like do some shit because somebody else do it, you probably already started the wrong way. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
already probably fucking up. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next up, GJ reads, and I think this is something that has come up in a few of your responses. Is just the power of knowledge and learning through reading. Do you have like a certain, what do I want to say, a certain type of book that you like to read, or certain types of books that you feel you gain the most out of reading?
Um, Crazy you say that because I was like I had this point. I've been in this phase where I don't really want to read books, but
Mm,
currently like just because I don't think yeah, I just have this phase where I haven't been wanting to read. But I have gotten into like thinking about since you asked that question. Like I said, I like to learn. Um, Currently, what I'm currently realizing I like to read autobiographies more so now because I like the Mike Tyson autobiography was really fucking good. Um, the David Goggins book that one of them that one was really good, and I've read a few other autobiographies or that I haven't read in a while. Obviously the Malcolm X one, but I haven't read that one in a while, and I'm like trying to read this. You said Blood in Your Eye by George Jackson, but just autobiographies because it kind of gets you like for me I'm like real descriptive, so I can kind of like people can talk and I can like be there. Wherever the fuck they're talking about, I can be there. Like I can be here visually talking to you and then like visually see what someone's saying because that's just always how I've been. So for me,
mm,
I find the best stories are from people who like are telling you about their story because like that shit descriptive and sometimes you can like almost be there and say, damn, that's similar to my own experiences. I've learned a lot of different shit and I started to learn a lot of shit is like, um, bullshit filler information. If it's not like something that's gonna like help me become a better person to be more effective, I try to like I got a bunch of books. I ain't gonna throw none of this stuff away, but I realize that everybody got an agenda. So it's not like you like
yeah.
telling me about my own life or something I can use to really make me a better person. And if it's not considering my circumstances as like a black man and colonialism, it's not like being real, then I'm not even finna sit there and play with it because I'm like, oh, this is what is it, one of these fucking books, stupid ass books, how to be an asshole or how to like shut the fuck up, bro. I already know how to do all that shit. That shit is not successful to be a nigga to be an asshole. You know how hard it is to be an asshole, be a black man in America, nigga. You're not getting shit done unless you really that nigga.
Hey,
So
say that. Say that for sure. Have you read Asada's autobiography yet? Asada Shakur?
no, um, that's crazy. I didn't. I bought that shit from my ex-wife, and she didn't read that shit, and I don't know what happened to that book. That shit still pisses me off to this day. But anyway, you know what I'm saying?
I'll go as far as saying I'll forgive you for not listening to the Flute album if you pick up Asada's autobiography. I think that might be slightly more important than the Flute album. I think you should check out both. But when you're mentioning the power of autobiographies, that's how I felt when I read Asada's for the first time. I was like, wow, I'm there with you. Like I'm seeing what you're seeing, but as well as I see the parallels between what she was writing about and what we're experiencing. Well, I read it in like 2016, but like what we're experiencing today.
Yeah. That's man. That's why it's like I like. That's why so reading certain books, I was like, okay, so and just remembering the books I like because you could just like this the Blood Not My Eye book by George Jackson. It's like I'm in jail with him. It's like I'm sitting right there,
Absolutely.
like that nigga. I'm like I don't even like I can hear his voice. I can see him smoking a cigarette. I can almost smell the cigarette. I can. It's like I'm there, and that's like I like those are the books that are hard to read because you get caught up in that when to put them down. And it's like I got
Yeah.
shit like that. Not that I read this book as much as I don't want to finish it too fast, as much as I got shit to do. There's so many things that come with that. So it's like I like those. That's where I'm at. So learning the stories of people and what they experience in that moment in time. So I'm definitely check that one out because just saying that I haven't. And I might have it in here somewhere. Just to be all the way honest, I just have to see what I got in my collection. But for sure, I will check that out.
And then last but certainly not least, GJ shoots. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier on in the podcast, a lot of folks have seen your black expression behind the camera. Had the opportunity to talk to Monet about photography. When did you first pick up the camera?
So, like I said, my dad's a musician. So I've always like he always had cameras. I don't know when he gave me a camera. I know that I've always had a camera in my hand as soon as I knew I could take a picture. And as soon as he could give me the camera to take a picture, I was taking them hoes. and it was not something that I ever saw myself doing in the future. So most of the time I took pictures because he wanted to take pictures of shit. So that was already a turnoff. I didn't want to keep doing shit for a motherfucker. I didn't want to keep doing shit for his ass. So I didn't realize, I had got a camera, but I wasn't like looking at photography as like something to do. And then eventually over time, you know what I'm saying, I got into the military, and then there was a job, like when I like enlisted, and they was like, oh, here's your job choices. And I was looking at the choices, and it was like, oh, here's this job. And I said, what's that? And he was like, oh, that's a cameraman. I was like, what's wrong with this? Those are pussies. And I was like, I looked at this motherfucker, and I called my brother who's in the Air Force. I was like, what's this documentation specialist? He said, oh man, get that job. That's the one. I said, what is it, man? This is a photography. You're gonna get to take pictures, bro. You're gonna be able to take pictures, blah, blah, blah. So he gassed the job up. I'm like, all right. Figured it was some bullshit. I get in the military. I get in. I didn't think I was gonna get in the military anyway, and that's a story for a whole other day. But I didn't even think I was gonna get in. I turned 30 in boot camp, and obviously I get to boot camp. Boot camp has nothing to do with my job, so I'm like, yo, these niggas have tricked me. Then we finish boot camp, and then I get to tech school, and then I'm like, all right, well, what's going down? A week of more bullshit, and then they put us in school. They put a camera in our hand, and then they went through the whole process of like photography. You know what I'm saying? And I like that shit was dope to me because I just like fell in love with like photography and the process and telling the story. Because the whole idea of photography in the military is to document history. And I'm already a fucking conscious nigga that's already reading a bunch of black shit and all about history and like documentation and like how do you capture history and tell stories. Here I am getting a job in the military about like documenting history with the camera, understanding what propaganda is on the other side of the spectrum as compared to what we know. And now understanding, oh, propaganda is just not just, we look at it as a negative thing, but it can be used for us just as much as it can be used for the opposition. You know what I'm saying? So learning the art of photography and getting into school and like just kind of falling in love with that process. And like then I took videos. We did video as well, and that's something that I learned how to screenwrite and like write scripts and shit. Like so, I'm looking forward to one day to use that skill because when I was in school, I was like, it was hard, and I was having a hard time. It was other black people there, but I'm like a nigga, so not like I'm a nigga, but I was a nigga, not like the other niggas. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like it was difficult as much as I wasn't sure of the format. And once like somebody said something, and it's like I twisted my ability to write music into this storytelling aspect, which was in script. And I was like, that shit was easy. I started writing shit so fast. It was like, yo, what did you do? Where did you like? I just wrote that shit because it's like I saw it was a difference because it was like, oh, this is the process of screenwriting. This is the process of storyboarding and storytelling. So I was like, oh, all you need is these components. You got an idea, and you can put it like this. You don't even really got to have a script. If you can storyboard that shit and put that shit in the shot list, you can literally get those shots and you can make a story from that. If you got, and I was like, oh man, that shit was, and I was like, after that, I was like, I love this shit. And then I got in the real army, and we didn't do none of that shit we did in school, but it taught me the process of like photos, the system of photos, like taking pictures. Like, so I can take 1,000 photos. I need a better computer eventually, but to take 1,000 photos and be able to go through the ones that I like, I know what I'm looking for. So it's not hard for me to find the ones that are right. I can edit photos in an extended period of time or a shorter period of time. It's a matter of like, I have a system and I understand what I'm looking for because they taught me to take pictures in like what they were looking for. So I'm like, when I'm in different environments, I can then kind of take what they told me and then I can do what I do with it as well. So like everybody's different when it comes to photography. And I can be all the way honest, when I got out of the military, I said, fuck pitch. I wasn't taking no fucking pictures. And then I met Monet. I think I took some pictures before I met her, but I met her at an event here in fucking company I don't work with no more. But I met her at this event and she was taking pictures with this camera. And I was like, is that your camera? It was this power shot. It was this little cheap ass camera. I'm pretty sure she did say something that she got this camera for like $100. And if she's watching this shit, whenever she sees, she gonna see me talking shit. But yeah, I was like, "Is this your camera?" She was like, "Yeah, this is my camera." She was like, "Why?" I was like, "Oh, I was just asking," but I was talking shit because I was like, "What is this cheap ass camera?" And she's a photographer. Who the fuck is this person with this camera? I was low key talking shit, not like down her. Like, what are you doing? And from there, we got together. And then I had a camera that I had bought when I was in the military that I was like, I guess I'll pick it up and take pictures. And I just started taking pictures. But to see her passion for it, and for someone who didn't like I watched the podcast earlier. I didn't know she was in high school for pictures. I didn't know she took photos in high school. I didn't know that. So that made me feel stupid because I was like, damn, we didn't ever talk about that. I thought that was something that she just did in college. But her passion for photos and how people interacted with her, and then her her love and passion is not the same as like structure and like knowing details. You can be really good at something and still not know how shit works. So that's not to say she didn't know what she was doing, because she knew exactly what the fuck she was doing. It was just I was helping. I had went to school for like, okay, this is why this is like this, and this is how you get this better, and this is how we can get better, and you should probably use this. So it was like I was only just around and enhance, but seeing her like her love for photography made me want to pick up the camera, and then it made me like be more and realize that I really could take pictures. Like I realized there's a lot of people who can grab cameras, and people say, "Oh, do." But for me, the military taught me how to like be in an environment where it's like it's always gonna be uncomfortable, where you like people be trying to get out of my way, and I'm like, go by, because nigga, I'm gonna have to worry about that shit. No way, you're not gonna not be in my way. You need to just keep on walking, because my job is to get the shot. Like that's the best. That's like the biggest thing they taught me in the military is get the shot. You're supposed to get the shot. But what fuck with everything else got going on, nigga? You're supposed to get the shot, nigga. Bullets coming, bombs dropping. Get the fucking shot, nigga. We here to get the shot. That's the point. So for me, it's all about getting the shot. And for me, it don't take much to get a shot. Once I figure out the settings and I see what I'm looking for, I get the proper framing, I get the look that I'm looking. Boom, that's done. I can go do some other shit. I can get some shot over here. So the system that I learned in the military just showed me how to be more effective and efficient with taking pictures overall. But just it was because I didn't like it when I got out the military, because overall it was like, yo, it's a system. It's bullshit. And I was doing this shit. It was bullshit. It was bullshit. And then we writing all these captions that was, this nigga is pouring water, but we got to make a nigga pouring water sound cool. And I'm like, yo, how many pictures do I take a nigga pouring water, or filling up gas, or picking up trash, or putting up a tent? Nigga, we in the desert. These niggas ain't doing nothing, but they still sending us out here in 100-degree weather. So, after a while, that shit would get annoying to you. So you'd be like, fuck this job, fuck these pictures, nigga, fuck this camera, nigga, I'm not taking no pictures no more. And then to see her like love it, I don't like it the same way, but I recognize that she does something, and it's like I'm glad to be able to help her grow. But I'm also like, I like to be able to do what I'm doing as well, because we work well when we're working together, and we support each other very well. She's like, overall, like, man, I'll be real, I wouldn't be taking no pictures right now if it probably wasn't for her. It's a lot of shit that people talk about. When you find a wife, you find a good thing, you find a partner, find a good thing, and like shit, we not on the best of terms right now. Shit ain't going. Shit, sometimes shit just happen. But I just keep it real. Like shit, a lot of shit we talking about, like the goddamn workout book, his goddamn logo on his shirt, me taking photos. Man, a lot of that shit is like because she inspired me and was there to help me do this shit. Cause I don't know how to fucking graphic design. I would like to know how to do that shit. I would like to like know how to like make flyers and do all these other things. I could learn. She's skilled, and then I can like give her my ideas, and she can help like bring those things into fruition. So I can't even like I'm thankful for the things that she's helped me do, because it's like shit, man, a lot of shit I wasn't even thinking about doing. Yeah, I want to work out, but I knew I wasn't going to take pictures, and just for being around her allowed me to pick up the camera, and then it allowed me to see that, oh, I really can do this, and this is something that not necessarily just can make a living off of, but people talk about like capturing moments and capturing memories. But for me, it's like I want to document and tell stories. Like the bigger thing for me is to be able to like, how you doing, what you doing here, but being able to like have conversations with people, to tell people like why did you do this, what inspired you to do this. Because we did that when I was at school in the military, when we did these like spotlights interviews on like jobs in like Indianapolis, Maryland. I thought that shit was so cool, because I got to pick the person who I got to talk to, and then I got to set the camera up, and just being able to see how you can line that shit up and get that depth of field. You see how we got this like this blur shit behind us, but like on a camera, and that shit is fucking like butter, man. That's like, man, that shit be like, some things people be falling in love with niggas like threes and spirals and car engines, but boy, photos and seeing that shit butter and seeing them smiles and that shit right there, I was like, ooh, I didn't even know, but that shit right there be like, man, I'd be like, that's the one. So, and I didn't even knew that. I was like, I don't got invent. I know it's photos. When I take a picture and it's good and that shit, I'm like, yeah. These niggas don't even know what I just hit them right here. They don't even know this is right here.
Man, I feel that. I always joke with guests. There's always one point in the podcast where people like geek out about something that they really are passionate about, and that was your geek out moment. I like people just get into their bag, and I think that a lot of what you said, I've seen some of it in action in a different capacity, of course. But there's been times at Black Expression where you have the camera and I'm trying to capture something on Instagram, and you be like, "Oh no, bro, you good? Like I got the shot." But it's just the confidence in which you're like, "No, I got it." Like don't even worry about it. Just keep moving. I'm like, dang, like you sure I ain't in your way? Like, nah, bro, you got it. You don't even gotta move. I think one time I moved and you told me to move back. I'm like, bro, like I'm getting out of your way. You're like, nah, I got it. Like, all right, dog.
Because you got to be uncomfortable. That's the job. Like I was out there in the desert with a fucking camelback and a camera, running in the fucking field with full kits on, trying to catch niggas shooting. I'm still trying to find these pictures so I can post these hoes, because I was really out there in 100-degree weather with kits on, like chasing these motherfuckers down, shooting fucking playing laser tag in the desert and shit. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, I was like, man, it was an experience. But the bigger thing is like, we was out there hiking. I was out there running. So it's like this one little marathon that happened out here. I was running with the camera in my hand. I'm pretty sure other people done that shit before. That ain't it, but that was not something I wasn't familiar with. We did that shit in the army. Like I literally had the camera strapped in my hand. So that's why like I bought this strap. I got it from Monet for her birthday like last year. But I got it when I was in the military because it's like it stays on my wrist. So it's like if something happens, I have no intentions of dropping the camera ever. But if I do, that motherfucker is not gonna go too far. That's the security instead of having it around my neck, which is an inconvenience for me. So it's like, man, yeah. So for me, it's like, but the key is to get the shot. So it's like, yeah, I gotta be able to work with what I have, because you're not gonna always be able to get people to move out the way.
Right.
And what I learned in the military is like, I can have the rank and I can tell a motherfucker who the fuck I am, and they'll still give me a hard time. So I still gotta be able to do my job, and then sometimes you ain't gonna be able to get motherfucker out the way. Sometimes you ain't gonna be able to like, oh, I'm this person. Sometimes people ain't gonna care. So are you gonna be able to like figure out how to get the shot, or are you gonna be able to like navigate through the process? Because you can be like, move out the way, I'm a photographer, and sometimes that can work, but then sometimes you might have to knock a motherfucker out or get your ass knocked out. And I got a camera. I can't afford to get knocked out with a camera, bro. This shit is too expensive. So overall, I'm like getting shots. I'm like, that's what I was trained to do, is to get the like I already understand what I'm doing. Like, so there's like, you can't like, it's being able to freely move and operate and like, understanding the differences of what lenses are best for certain situations. But overall, is recognizing like, hey, what are you looking for? What are you trying to achieve? What's your ultimate goal? Okay. Oh, you like what I do? Too easy. That shit's too easy. Now, that don't mean I'm gonna give you what you wanted because you said you like what I do. That's not. You better tell me what you want, so then I can give you what you want, and then I can get something
Right.
I do as well. So yeah.
Right. Right. GJ, you've been so gracious with your time. Want to make sure that we hit a few of these last questions and go ahead and make sure I give you some time back for your evening. So rapid fire round to
He
close us
trying
out
to
on the podcast.
he trying to get to this Lakers game. That's all that is.
I still got 45 minutes to Lakers, and trust me, I was gonna say something if we got too close to the Lakers starting. Like I'll own fully that we still got 45 minutes to the Lakers. Come on, you got my undivided attention. Don't even worry about it. But just because like I know one, like your dad, it's a Monday evening. So I just like to make sure that I'm respectful of folks' times as best as possible. That's why you see when I be hosting Black Expression, we get out there at 10:30 on the dot.
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
but first things first, who are some people who inspire you, or who are some people who influence you?
We were talking about autobiographies earlier, and I saw like this post on people. It's something that said 4 people inspire you, and I had put like my kids. Obviously, my children inspire me. Their mothers inspire me. Um, People who like I mean, recently, or not even more so recently, just people that I've always looked up to. Like obviously, artist wise, is like Lupe Fiasco, um, Ludacris, but just like body of work. But then it's like
Mm.
Mike Tyson, David Goggins, because their parallels of their experiences are similar to mine, because I just kind of had like similar experiences that they had. Um, so for me, it's like trying to read more people's stories and understand how they was raised. So like, if I was to say the people who inspire like my children, those are like the main source of inspiration. Obviously, their mothers, because shit, without their mothers, the children wouldn't be here. So I'm like, I appreciate them. I'm inspired by trying to be the best that I can, not just for my children, but for their mothers, because that's the key. David Goggins, fucking Mike Tyson, who else, man? Who? And I'm like, that's there's a lot of people, but I can't think of people off the top of my head. More so, like, I'm inspired by everyday people that I meet every day that show up for themselves, that show up in these spaces. I'm inspired by what you do, by the people that we see step up to the mic, in the midst of the circumstances that people going just trying to do something, because there's people who just give up. You know what I'm saying? Niggas will just fucking drink the fuck out this liquor and call it a day. You know what I'm saying? So, anybody getting up and striving to try to like help dismantle this system in the best way they possibly can. You know what I'm saying? Or at least in some sense of trying to bring it down. It doesn't have to be like a physical sense of like whatever you can. You know what I'm saying? So that's what really inspires me. People every day getting up, and my children, and, people who have like them stories that are similar to mine. Like,
hey, absolutely. And we were talking about this before we started recording, but that was kind of the inspiration for the podcast, just because I was finding so much inspiration in people I was just kicking it with or seeing on a Friday night at Black Expression. And I'm like, you inspire me by being who you are. I want to make sure that other people have an opportunity to hear that story so that they could take inspiration from different parts of our journeys. And I hope that, and I know that listeners will take something away from your story as well. So yeah, definitely rocking with the people who inspire you and influence you. Next up, the fourth place. This question is, where is your Zen place, or what are the circumstances that, when put all together, you feel the most peace of mind? Like, where's your Zen place? Obviously not listening to Andre 3000 play the flute, but
I mean, man, it's like when you say that, I think I saw that question, but it's like 3 or 4 places. And if it was like, it's like a beach, the open road, the gym, obviously like high on a mountain, and 2K, like in front of like playing 2, like those are like, if all my shit's taken care of and I can just do that without like having to worry, man, that's like, whew, I could, obviously you can't do shit all day, but if you could just be like, oh, what would you do if you could just, man, I'll be sitting on the beach with a blunt, nigga, I'll sit at the top of the mountain, nigga, I'll just be on the open road. If you give me 2K with chart, like, bro, I'll be in that bitch smoking weed and playing too. Not that I don't want to do that shit all day. But if I had all my responsibilities taken care of, bro, I get up and go to the gym, work out, do my fatherly duties, and be here playing 2K. Like, what was you talking about? Yeah,
yeah, GJ is practicing to play me in 2K. Leave in the comments who y'all think can win a game with 2K, myself or GJ. I know my answer. That might be the spot. No, I'm not gonna make it that Spotify poll, but we gonna get that game with 2K on the calendar one of these days, because I just need to see where the skill level at. I'm not saying I'm gonna beat you, but I'm just curious.
He already said he was gonna beat me one time. Now he's trying to backpedal.
I'm not backpedaling. I was just trying to be more respectful on the mic.
Oh, that's what we calling it. All right. Yeah, yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll handle my lightweight on 2K in a little bit. Let me stop messing with you. What else is on here? Outside of what we have discussed, what else do people need to know about you to get a complete picture of who you are? Whether it's things you do for fun, things you're passionate about, just anything you feel like we haven't discussed that you want to make sure you talk about that is important to who you are as a person.
I mean, I appreciate the time. I feel like we talked a lot. I feel like I got a lot of stuff out. I feel like it's gonna be a lot of stuff people, whether they stick around and listen to, we're gonna be a lot of stuff that can be used from this. But overall, I feel, I think if anything, what people can get out of this is like, don't let the exterior fool you. Don't let what you perceive me to be like, I'm human. I say I'm God because I'm trying to be the best version of myself. I'm still learning. I'm trying to do the best that I can. I'm, something my father used to say, saying he would, sometimes I may seem like an asshole or insensitive, but my dad would always say to charge it to my mind and not to my heart. So talk to me. And I can respect it. Sometimes people aren't in the space to receive certain things just as much as I may not be. But I'm hoping that people can we can communicate, you know what I'm saying? But not everything ain't for everybody. But overall, we all still learning, we all trying to figure shit out. So hopefully people got some type of, peak and understanding to me. I got some projects that I'm working on. I've been inspired by obviously you and all the other people with Black Expression who write books. So, I've been crafting a poetry book. I recognize I got like 9 poems in this thing. I ain't read all them shits, but I got like 9. So I don't know how many I'm gonna do. I want to try to start a podcast. I'm looking at releasing another album or at least an EP with obviously other songs that I've done. You know, training. People are if you're interested in training, at least figuring out your why. If you know your blood type, I got these things that I've designed called a blood type list to help you figure out what foods you should avoid and what foods you should eat to help your overall just helps your health. Because the best way I can describe it is like soil. If you put if you got the wrong soil or you're not getting feeding the soil right, then you're gonna get bad fruit, bad vegetables. So you want to make sure you're giving your blood the foods you should eat. You might not supposed to eat pork. You might not supposed to eat beef. You might not supposed to eat turkey. You may not supposed to eat kale or fucking coffee or it's all kinds of shit. I can't eat shit, bro. I'm looking at this goddamn list. I can't eat half these fucking beans. I can't yeah. I made this months ago. So outside of that, merch, if people are interested, I'm not a very good salesman, finding that out how to get people interested in support and purchase. But overall, hopefully the biggest thing is I'm still learning, and hopefully you learn something and you're willing to have a conversation with me, work with me, collaborate with me, and have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Learn some more because I know I can't talk about everything in here, but people get a little insight of who I am as a person.
Yep.
Because I think our circumstances shape us, and if we don't have conversations, if people don't ask you certain questions, how would you ever know? Oh well, damn, this nigga was holding roaches. What the fuck? What the fuck kind of life you live where you was holding roaches? That shit.
Yeah, that's why I love podcasting, because you get those little tidbits from people that you're not necessarily just going to get if you have a regular conversation with them, but we sit down and talk for a couple hours and those type of stories come out. Within your answer to that, you went through 3 of the remaining questions that I have for you. So I'm trying to figure out what you ain't answered yet. But one of the things I want to make sure that I left time for, if I listen to this podcast, I got to know a lot more about you. Where can I find you online? How can I support you? Where can I get a shirt? What's the deal? How can people tap in with GJ the God?
Hey, if you just go to Instagram, at GJ the God, will be GJ.the God. Message me directly. A lot of stuff I'm trying to reconsolidate, set up in a proper space. So it's so I would just personally message me. You can find me GJ the God on Instagram or Facebook. Outside of that, anything that's on my Instagram page, you'll be able to find anything directly in my bio section, whether it be my photo page, which is GJ_shoots, and then obviously Blackitarian, Elohim Supreme, and any other little projects I have working out. If you're interested, but overall, if you go to GJ the God, you'll be able to find everything, especially in my bio, especially on my Instagram. So it's all right there. I'm looking to collaborate, work with people, you know what I'm saying? Capture some type of memories, or, learn, collaborate, talk, train, you know what I'm saying? Support each other, figure out something, you know what I'm saying? Because the bigger thing is trying to build a tribe and trying to set the example and overall, create something better future for the children. So it's the starter's question you started with me was what fatherhood taught me. It's yo, it's bigger than me, and it's my responsibility to make sure that happens because ain't nobody else gonna do it, and I can't wait for nobody else to do that shit if I don't do it.
Absolutely. And then I think the last question that we haven't touched on, or just takeaways from the episode. I think you mentioned a few that you want our listeners to take away from the episode. So you can add any to that if you want. But more importantly, what are you taking away from this episode?
Um, and it's the first time I did something like this. So it's different than what we see on the internet. You know what I'm saying? The internet will have you believing shit to be other than what it is, and sometimes it's just, I'm just in my room, you have a conversation, and it's like sometimes that's not like people have all these productions, so they make it like, and it ain't that serious. You know what I'm saying? People be like, that should be looking good, but they be pretending. I'm not. Ain't nobody in this room with me. Ain't nobody over there. This is like real. So it's like for me, it's a first. I'm looking to do more stuff like this, but also like it to be authentic and be real and be able to like, hopefully find people who are my kind. Not like I ain't looking for my people no more. I'm looking for my kind. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Charleston White said, there's all kinds of birds in the sky, but red birds and blue birds don't hang together. I was like, damn, that shit is real as fuck, boy. You right, nigga. You not lying. That's
words of wisdom. That's words of wisdom for sure. Man, well, I would say what I'm taking away from this episode is just to be very intentional about learning and going 110% in whatever you're learning about, whether it's how to get the right shot with a camera, whether it's being more intentional with your workouts. Just life is a learning process, and I just am really appreciative of you for your transparency, your authenticity, which is not a surprise. Like when you expressed that you would be interested in being on the podcast, I knew that you were going to be 100% transparent and honest with who you are and your story. And I will say, as someone who has gotten to know you more this year and heard some of your poetry, heard your music, I'm just really thankful to be a part of your community and be able to see you grow and blossom into who you are. And I look forward to hearing more of your poetry, reading a book when it come out, checking a podcast when it come out. Just because I love being able to be in community and space with other Black men and helping us learn and grow together as a community. I think that's so important. And I'm just really excited for people to be able to tap in with your story. So yeah, just thank you again for your time and making it a fun podcast to record. I've enjoyed sitting here talking to you for the last couple hours, and I'm looking forward to the edit too.
Yeah, that's just I'm looking forward to it too. I just said a bunch of shit. I'm like, all right, let's see what this pans out to be. God damn it, boy. I think I did good. I think I didn't go too crazy. I said some wild shit. I know, but I didn't say too. I think like it is what like I said, I don't really care, but I think overall, like you said, you rounded it out real well. It's like overall being in the space to be able to like, communicate how you feel, whether it's accepted or not, is not so much, I don't believe in certain things, and it's okay. It's like we're not always gonna agree, but it's important that we like. How do we learn if we don't talk about shit? How do we communicate these things if we don't like? If we don't sit down and listen to what other people have to say? It's like I don't agree with that, but I heard what you said, and this is how I see it. And that's like the last 3-4 days. That's probably the biggest thing I've gotten out of a lot of situations. Is sometimes people really just sit down and have these conversations with each other, especially like because we got the privilege to do that. We don't live in Gaza. We live in America, so we got the privilege to do things that others don't. So it's important to take advantage of what we have and stop like you said, intentional. Because man, I ain't got time for that bullshit.
Hey, I hear you on that, bro. Well, once again, thanking you for your time. Listeners, thank y'all for sticking through with the full podcast. For those of y'all who are stuck through with the end, definitely thank y'all for tapping in.
I'm just playing. You got.
Hey, it's prime entertainment. We get them 2 hours of great content. They gonna stick in with us. I know, like, Pops listen to this. I got family that listen to this, and they stick through the whole couple hours of the episode. And I'm just really excited to be able to share my community with others and grow our communities, grow our reach. For those of y'all who might be tapping into the podcast for the first time just to see GJ, make sure y'all tap in with some other stories as well. As we mentioned, Monet's episode was last week, but also tap in with some of the earlier episodes. Follow the podcast on social media at Banquet Hall Pod. Y'all can go to thefourthkyler.com to check out some of the prior episodes and tap in with us. We gonna lift as we climb together. We gonna keep on reading. GJ gonna learn how to play the flute, and we gonna have a good end of the year. But thank y'all for tuning into the Banquet Hall podcast, and we'll catch y'all next time.